One thinker in this discipline challenged scientific racism in The Mind of Primitive Man. A work subtitled This Discipline at a Distance contrasted guilt and shame and was researched at Japanese internment camps. The Chrysanthemum and the Sword of Coming of Age in Samoa are works of, for 10 points, what cultural social science practiced by Franz Boas, Ruth Benedict, and Margaret Mead, whose name translates as Study of Mankind? And the answer is anthropology. A treatise on this subject by Jean-Jacques Rousseau details how the boy Emile experiences this. John Dewey wrote about the communal aspects of this subject in a work titled For Democracy and This. One approach to this process involves self-chosen activity and discovery as described by Maria Montessori. Pedagogy is the science of, for 10 points, what process of teaching and learning that often happens in colleges and schools. And the answer is education. This work's second chapter improves on the symbolic method and the cipher method using an example experienced at Bellevue involving a bolded formula of trimethylamine that led to an infected left shoulder. That example, known as Irma's injection, was experienced by the author himself on a summer night. The Oedipus complex is discussed in, for 10 points, what landmark text in psychoanalysis, a study of the mind during sleep, written by Sigmund Freud? And the answer is the interpretation of dreams. This quantity's potential value decreases by 2% as unemployment increases by 1%, according to the Gap version of Oken's law. The expenditure approach to calculating this quantity adds consumption, investments, government spending, and net exports. For 10 points, name this economic quantity the total market value of all goods and services produced in a country contrasted with a similar national quantity. And the answer is gross domestic product. This language borrowed its current third-person plural pronouns from contact with the Dane law. One of this language's parent languages experienced Grimm's law, and this language itself underwent the Great Vowel Shift. Though it is Germanic, this language borrows heavily from the French due to the Norman conquest of this language's native country. For 10 points, name this modern language that is spoken widely in Canada and other British colonies. And the answer is modern English. This man's work, Psychological Types, provided the basis for the Myers-Briggs test, which built on his ideas of introverts and extroverts. He proposed that all of mankind shares a body of indirect knowledge and posited the shadow, persona, self, anima, and animus as the 5 main archetypes. For 10 points, name this Swiss founder of analytic psychology who developed the idea of the collective unconscious. And the answer is Carl Gustav Jung. This work notes that Pope and Tsar have allied to exercise the title group. It lists 10 demands, including free public education and a progressive income tax, that would lead to the end of the class struggles between the ruling bourgeoisie and the working proletariat, who have nothing to lose but their chains. Ending Working Men of All Countries Unite, for 10 points, name this 1848 anti-capitalist work written by Marx and Engels. And the answer is the Communist Manifesto. In this situation, maximum profit occurs when marginal cost is set equal to marginal revenue, rather than price. A natural one of these can occur if economies of scale create a high barrier to entering the market. Higher prices often result from the complete lack of competition within, for 10 points, what economic situation which exists when only one seller of goods exists in an industry. And the answer is Monopoly. Alexis de Tocqueville's Democracy in America was intended to be a study of these institutions. Jeremy Bentham designed one of these called the Panopticon, and Philip Zimbardo simulated one of these at the University of Stanford. Britain colonized Australia to serve as this institution, and San Francisco's Alcatraz Island was home to one of these buildings. For 10 points, name this type of institution that houses criminals. And the answer is prison. Kurt Schneider's first rank symptoms help identify this disorder from other mental conditions, and Emil Kraepelin first deemed this disease dementia praecox. Types of this disorder include catatonic, paranoid, and disorganized, and it is treated by lowering dopamine levels. For 10 points, name this mental disorder featuring auditory hallucinations from the Greek for split mind, often mistaken for split personality disorder. And the answer is schizophrenia.